Welcome to this masterclass on the architecture of character-driven stories. Today, we will deconstruct the mechanics of character-centric storytelling. We will focus on three interconnected pillars. The first is internal conflict. The second is character evolution. The third is genre considerations. By the end, you will understand how to build a story from the inside out. Let's begin with the first pillar, internal conflict. Internal conflict is the invisible war raging inside a character's mind. It is the friction between their conscious desires and their subconscious fears. To architect this effectively, you must map two opposing forces. On one side is what the character wants, their driving, tangible goal. On the opposing side is what they fear. This fear is an unhealed wound or vulnerability that prevents them from simply taking what they want. This specific friction is the primary driver of the narrative. It acts as the engine that forces true psychological evolution. To truly understand the power of internal conflict, we must contrast it with external conflict. External conflict is the tangible goal. It is the race to be won, the villain to be defeated, or the mountain to be climbed. It provides the plot's forward momentum. But a purely external plot often leaves readers feeling hollow because it lacks emotional stakes. This is where internal conflict enters. The internal struggle is the psychological barrier. It is the fear of failure or the shadow of past trauma. In character-driven stories, the external plot merely serves as a crucible. It becomes a mirror that forces the character to confront their internal battle. Winning the race means nothing if they haven't conquered their inner demons first. Having explored internal conflict, we now turn to the mechanism that translates that struggle into action. That mechanism is character agency. In character-centric storytelling, agency is the bedrock of narrative momentum. But what exactly is it? Fundamentally, agency is defined by proactive decision-making. It is the character's ability to make meaningful choices that directly impact the plot. The core element here is choice. Without genuine choice, a character is merely a passenger. They become a victim of circumstance, adrift in the story. When a character exercises true agency, the narrative result is clear. Their decisions drive the plot forward. This ensures that events are a direct consequence of who they are. To truly understand character agency, we must draw a clear line between two types of protagonists. These are the proactive and the reactive. A proactive character acts on internal desires, driving the narrative forward. A reactive character merely responds to external threats. This distinction dictates plot control. Proactive leads force the antagonist to adapt to their choices. Reactive leads are constantly on the defensive, just trying to survive. This also shapes audience engagement. We invest deeply in characters who make difficult choices. In character-driven storytelling, a proactive lead isn't just preferred. It is the engine of the narrative. As the story builds, the narrative inevitably reaches a critical point. This is the exact moment where a character's hard-won agency collides with their deepest internal conflict. They are forced to a crossroads. Do they fall back into comfortable reactive patterns driven by their fears? Or do they make a proactive, terrifying choice that propels them toward authentic growth? Remember this principle: true character is not revealed by what they say in dialogue. It is revealed by the irrevocable weight of the choices they make under pressure. We now arrive at the second pillar of our framework. This pillar is mapping psychological evolution and growth. In a truly character-driven story, the external plot is merely a mechanism designed to force the protagonist to change. This internal change is the character arc, but it's far more profound than just learning a new skill or defeating a physical villain. Psychological evolution is the fundamental shift in a character's worldview over time. It is the painful but necessary journey from believing a comforting lie to confronting a difficult truth. This transformation of the soul is what gives the narrative its ultimate meaning and emotional resonance. To understand this journey, we need a clear framework. It is the framework of the wound, the lie, and the truth. Every compelling character-driven story begins not with the present action, but with the past. Specifically, it begins with a past trauma known as the wound. This wound is sometimes called the ghost. It is a deeply embedded psychological scar. It haunts the protagonist's subconscious. Because this pain is too difficult to process, the character's mind constructs a defense mechanism. This defense protects them from experiencing the pain again. This defense mechanism manifests as the lie. The lie is a fundamentally flawed belief about themselves or the world that they accept as absolute truth. For example, imagine the wound is childhood abandonment. The resulting lie might be, if I never rely on anyone, I can never be hurt again. This lie dictates their initial internal conflict. It keeps them stagnant, preventing true psychological evolution until they are forced to confront it. Every great character-driven story is a journey of psychological unlearning. Initially, the protagonist is anchored by the lie. For example, they might subconsciously believe, I am only worthy if I win. This lie offers false protection, keeping them in a rigid state of denial. The plot's entire purpose is to relentlessly challenge this false belief. Through escalating conflicts, the character is forced to realize a hard reality. Their coping mechanism is actually their greatest obstacle. Ultimately, they must embrace the truth. This truth is a profound acceptance that my worth is inherent. This transformation from the lie to the truth is the true engine of character growth. Now, let's map this evolution across a timeline of growth. It begins with the status quo. The character is living a normal life, but it is defined by their wound. They believe the lie and resist change. Then comes the inciting incident. The external plot pokes the wound. It forces the character out of their comfort zone and challenges their false beliefs. At the midpoint, we hit a phase of deep self-reflection. The character realizes their old coping mechanisms are failing. They begin shifting from reactive to proactive. This builds to the climax. Here, agency and conflict collide. The character must make a definitive choice. They can cling to the familiar lie, or they can embrace the truth. Finally, we reach the resolution. The character emerges with a new self. They have integrated the truth, proving their psychological evolution is complete. We have now mapped the internal arc. But where do these stories thrive? This brings us to the third pillar, genre considerations. While any genre can be character-driven, certain genres are fundamentally built upon the architecture of human psychology. These are what we might call the genres of the soul. They don't just feature character growth, they require it as the primary engine of the plot. There are 3 genres perfectly suited for character-driven delivery. These are literary fiction, drama, and coming of age. In these arenas, the internal conflict isn't a subplot. It is the entire point of the narrative. Among these, literary fiction stands out as the ultimate study of interiority. In these stories, the plot is often secondary. The real landscape is the character's mind. It focuses intensely on their thoughts, memories, and reflections. So, let's bring these pillars together. Internal conflict provides the psychological battleground. Character agency turns that struggle into meaningful action. And the wound, the lie, and the truth chart the path of transformation. Master these mechanics, and your characters will no longer be passengers in their own stories. They will become the engine that drives every page forward.